Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenvo, and I am super happy to have. He's literally a rock star when it comes into dentistry. He's the general manager of Lifesmiles Dental, and we wanted to bring Osmaan on here to talk about the business side of the dental practice, but also how automation and technology is taking the practice to another level.
And I actually liked it.
Yeah.
It's less patient management, more of, working in the office and kind of bringing it back up.
But you had to, it's almost like you had to learn. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between like medicine and also dentistry. There's a lot, other than some little terms. So you had to learn like the language and stuff like that. How was that?
Terminology.
How was that?
I mean, it was good. It was good. I think it took me a little while, but it was easy transition.
Yeah,
it wasn't too hard.
So so how did you get involved with mConsent and Samad and all his team and whatnot? Like how did that happen?
So it was all right. I think Doctor that had mutual contacts and friends.
Oh, okay.
So he approached us and he had this wonderful company that he has, and it's great. It helped us a lot with our patient management system.
And then obviously they just released this Kiosk system, and I'm kind of like beta testing it too. And he was telling me, he was like, okay, we have like amazing office, amazing general manager of this practice who faces this problem. So the whole Kiosk system, tell me like why was that something that was important to you? And I like your perspective because the doctor, I mean, with me, sometimes what I do is that, like, I'm trying to see patients. Like I'm not messing around in the front,
I hear
right?
you.
I'm not messing around in the front, but like, so when Samad mConsent team talked to you guys about that, what made it appealing for you?
So it was a great asset to having it in the front office, because if I'm busy, treatment coordinating or with other patients, it's there always as a secondary employee, so to speak. So it helps in getting their forms and checking them in. It's cool device that we have in the office. It helps kind of get the outflow going a little bit better.
Because a lot of times people don't realize this, but when you're dealing with the business side, right? And sometimes as a doctor, I'm guilty of this too. Like with my office manager, I'm like, what's going on there? Why can't you get the forms right? All those things, but and then also, I don't think about as far as like the dynamics up in the front, because when a whole bunch of people come in and people call at the same time, like it's chaotic over there. It's chaotic there. And us in the back, I'm sure with Dr. IQ was like, hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? So so again, tell me about like that whole dynamic when, especially if you have someone who doesn't show up to work. You know?
So I mean, it's good in a sense that, like, if you don't have a full staff like we do right at the moment, it acts like
like almost another person.
I'm another person there, right. So it's just management, getting patients in, reducing wait time in the lobby, getting them in and out faster for treatment, consenting for their treatment, helps. Forms. I mean, I could list you all. I mean,
the one thing I really like about mConsent is their forms, because half the battle, you probably already know this, half the battle is getting the information right. Like sometimes I'm like, what? You don't have your birth date in here. You don't have the right address.
You can't go to each and every single patient and check to see what they have, what they don't have. So this system actually helps in getting all that in there.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna throw. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. So you've been in the medical field, and then you came into dental, and I always ask people this. Like I even asked Samad and mConsent when we had the interview. I was like, why did you decide to work with crazy people in dentistry, man?
It just so happened to be that way, and
crazy people in dentistry, and sometimes we have crazy patients.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think that's with any field, but I mean, we love our patients for the most part, and getting them in with this software that we have now, it helps with everything, integration, trying to basically make it less work, but more efficient. That makes sense.
So let me ask you this, because this is the biggest problem, right? And I know, like, when I talk to the mConsent team or any other tech platform, the big thing is that it's one thing to have something really good. It's another thing to actually get the team to buy in. So you being kind of like the leader on the business side, how was it? How was it just trying to get to people to implement things and whatnot?
I wouldn't say it was too hard. I mean, thankfully, Summit made it very, very easy.
Yeah.
He's a great asset when it comes to these kind of things, especially bringing it into the office, introducing himself, what the software is about, what his company is about. His team is excellent as far as getting the tech support I need. I mean, I can just go on and on. I just feel like this is the great next step in making practice management a lot easier for all different offices. So it's just, kind of getting used to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like other offices will definitely be and more productive.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because again, not every doctor is going to be lucky enough to have someone of your caliber working for them, right? So for those people out there who, they're trying to put together their team and whatnot, can you just give, like, if some doctor came up to you and said, okay, I'm starting my practice and I'm trying to put my team together and I'm trying to get things right for the front. Like, what's pieces of advice? Like, hey, like, for example, my big piece of advice, someone asked about if someone calls in sick. We had a really big post in my group, and they said, well, what should we do? And I said, well, as the practice owner, you gotta like roll up your sleeves, and,
right?
And if someone doesn't show up, that means you're cleaning up the office.
Of course,
that means you might be doing some cleanings. You might have to, that's as a practice. So what's like a piece of advice for someone who's starting a practice, and they don't have the benefit of having you as someone to help the business? What to give a couple of pieces of advice there?
So, like, you need compatibility. You need to be able to be more open-minded and be a great multitasker. So you have to have different responsibilities that you should already kind of know what's going on. And especially working in a dental office, you kind of have to know, like, if somebody calls in sick or is not available at the time, what the front office does, what the back office does, how do you go about getting supplies, instruments, medications, things like that. And you kind of basically have to know the terminology.
Yeah.
So that plays in a big way. If you know the steps, if you kind of like have an idea. And my thing is that obviously I started kind of fresh.
Yeah.
So it took me a little while, but the good thing is that you kind of have to be a go-getter in that sense.
Yeah.
You kind of want to be able to enjoy what you do, and if you don't, then you're just pretty much
You jumped into dentistry, I mean, without hardly any experience. Now, of course, you had experience on the medical side, but dentistry is like a whole different language. For those who are watching right now who are either onboarding people who have no experience, or actually, for the people who have no experience, like let's say it's a spouse or a family member that's trying to help out in the practice, what's your advice to them? Because again, a lot of times as dentists, we say, okay, we're going to train you up. But let's be honest, guys. I mean, most dentists, most dental practice owners, we're busy trying to see patients. Man, we don't really have time to train you up. Yeah. What is your advice to those who are jumping in and with no experience and trying to do a good job?
So I feel like always have a positive attitude.
Yeah.
Be in that go-getter mode. Have open mind. Ask questions. Be able to give and receive good criticism and feedback. That really helps, because anytime you're going to something that you're not really familiarized with, I feel you kind of have to be on your feet a little bit and kind of absorb everything in.
What resources did you use? Like, did you just go online and started looking up dental terms? Well,
luckily for me, I had a good medical background.
That's right.
So I had the terminology. But then, as far as like
the business, like insurance and verification,
so insurance is a whole different ball game.
Different
ball game, and that has its own nuances. Yeah. So you gotta be on top of are we compliance? Are we having the correct billing system? Verification system, things like that. So I still, I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about it. Even though I've been there for a couple of years now, it still takes me a little.
I mean, so I think that's something that people have to realize, that this is just like anything in life.
Yeah.
You're still learning, man.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you're still learning all those things. Would you say that the best way to learn is just to go in there and do it?
Of course.
Because
Just jump right
you
in.
can watch all the videos you want, and
Yes.
there's resources on, you go on YouTube and what, there's
Right.
all the videos, you can get all the training, but unless you just go in there and like maybe get your first denial or do all that
Of course,
stuff,
of course.
then, because when you face it, you just got to figure a way to manage it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I think you excel and you learn. Because once you hit a roadblock and an obstacle, you don't just stop there. You have to kind of, work your way around it and overcome those things. So I feel like you just have to be, consistent in your work and your work ethic.
So, since you've been doing this for a while and you literally kind of grew into the position and learned,
Right.
There's a lot of things that you could do that's manual, and there's a lot of things that you can leverage technology and whatnot.
Yes.
So again, I know you're a big fan of mConsent.
Yes.
And talk about like, what are some of the things that mConsent has done to make your life easier? Because again, you're right up there. You're in the trenches.
Yes.
Patients coming in.
So-
patients filling out forms.
Correct.
And again, it starts. What I love so much about their platform is that the forms is kind of like the foundation, right? That you got to get the right information in, because if you don't get the right information, what happens to all your claims?
Oh,
They screw up.
Yeah.
Or what about when you try to reach out to patients, recall? You don't have the right number. I'm sure that's happened
it's-
before.
exactly.
And then you're
Exactly.
like, oh, please, just walk in one
yeah,
day.
just walk in or give us a call. or
Yeah,
email
because
or-
you don't have the right number or email.
exactly.
So talk about how like the platform itself has made your life easier.
So it's drastically changed in the sense that I'm able to communicate faster.
Yeah.
I can take payments online. I can send forms. I can send treatment consents. Pretty much everything can be done. Now, obviously, you have to be there physically to
Sure.
check them in.
But that allows you to focus on that.
Of course, and then it helps with just being on track.
Yeah.
And then the kiosk itself is, like I said, like a secondary employee. So
And I just want to let everyone know, like literally, the reason why we have Osmaan on here is not only does he have a lot of knowledge that can really help out a lot of our members, but your office is literally like the pilot program that used that.
yes.
And again, that's why I wanted to get your experience with that, because we know how it is in the front. People walk in, you got phone calls, you got to do all these things. And, when you think about kiosks, I mean, you go to the grocery store. I mean, I was at McDonald's. My kid wanted to get some breakfast there. And, you could still go up there and you could still talk to someone.
Right.
But there was a kiosk there and I'm like, I already know what I need to do. I just went in there and it was so quick. And so a lot of times now people are expecting that.
Yeah.
When you put that kiosk up in your practice, how did the patients react? Let me ask you that.
I think it was more of a positive way.
Because they thought it was like, hey, this is pretty cool.
Hey, this is a cool thing. This is a new device.
So no one got, and again, I want to let everyone know this, because a lot of times people are thinking, well, I don't want to get rid of my front office. I don't want to do the kiosk. But I'm like, that's not the point. You go to Kroger's or you go to McDonald's, there's still like a checkout, right? And there's you have a choice there. Did anyone like any of the patients at your practice, did they get offended, like, hey, I don't want to do that, or
No,
or it was
I wouldn't say they got offended. Maybe I would think that a lot of the elderly or senior citizens have a little hard time, with
they would rather
technology,
and the option is still there, right?
The option is still there. But to be honest with you, with this system in place with like the kiosk, it kind of helps when patients are coming in that don't really want to deal with the front desk.
Oh yeah,
This kiosk takes care of it.
yeah.
So they literally come in, they check in, they put their information in, and then if they don't have any forms, it sends it right to them. It takes a picture of them, so it automatically integrates straight into my software system. So I automatically know that they're here, they're checked in, that I have their forms, everything checks out.
Their addresses are right, their phone numbers
and
right.
then it reduces the wait. Yeah, so everything is there, and then I'll just come in, check, and then that's it.
You'd be surprised, and I think you can support this too. You'd be surprised that even if someone is telling your front desk their information, you'd be surprised that some people's level of spelling, even if they told them they could mess it up,
Yes.
it's great for them to do that. And again, you said something that was really true, and I'm gonna put this towards our younger folks, because I know, like, my nieces and nephews, a lot of times they'll send me a text message, right?
Yeah, they don't want to talk,
and it's like a novel,
a whole paragraph.
And I'll call up my niece. I'll say, Bailey, why didn't you just call me?
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's easier. But you guys have to understand that the mentality of a lot of the younger generation is a little different. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to, like, that's why they like to go to the cell. They don't want to talk to you. They just give you the information, and they'll only talk to you when they have to, which is dealing with a doctor. Exactly. Have you noticed, like, a lot of the younger patients, they like that?
And you're right on that. So a lot of the younger generation crowd will come in and they're more tech savvy. Yeah. So they like the kiosk system. They like, not having to, do too
talk
much
to someone.
Manual work and labor. So if they can send it online or do it out their phone or email, perfect.
And let me ask you this. I mean, again, this is not coming from me. This is coming from someone who's in the trenches, who's dealing with the business side, right? Yes. But how often, let's do a percentage, between someone saying, hey, I want you to call me, and you just text messaging somebody. What's the percentage? How often do people rather have you send a text message than you calling?
I would say more than 75%.
Yeah. I mean, because again, people think like, well, I want the personal touch, and that's true, right? We're not saying that the sending a text message using kiosk is any like different level of customer service.
Of course,
it's just different. Some people just want that. I mean, again, if they need to talk to you,
right,
you're still there.
And I'll put this as well: the fact that we have this system in place, obviously, there's human error, and people forget, which is part of life. But if I have a previous text that I've been sent, and I'm like, going through my stuff, I'm like, oh yes, I still have this. I still have my form to fill out, or I still have this payment to do, or I still have to do this. So the technology, in a sense, will kind of help as a reminder, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap up here, I'm going to ask you some other pieces of advice. Sure. Okay, and again, for someone who's worked on the business side and worked with a doctor, but also has a good relationship. I mean, you're friends with the practice owner. You're good friends with them. You have outside there. Yeah. As someone who's on the business side, what is your advice to all us doctors there, as far as like having a positive, you have a good working relationship. You guys respect each other. You guys have a common goal. Right. But a lot of times, I think that practice owner, we're so busy on like, okay, we're focused on trying to go into practice that we miss a little bit on the communication side. What has been, how has it been so successful with you and that relationship with you and Dr. IQ? Can you just share some of the things so that, again, people who are in the same position, they can understand like that dynamic? Like, well, why has it been so successful with you guys?
Well, just because we're very open-minded and we obviously work to a common goal. Yeah. Our thing is that we're not really looking to make money out of the patient. Our thing is, we want to make sure we do the right kind of service for the right price, and we want to attract more people in that way. We're more like a family. We don't really treat you as like, you just come in as a patient and leave, and then we'll see you in 6 months. Yeah. That's not how it works for us. And a lot of the times, the good thing about our doctor is that a lot of the cases that will come in, we get a lot of people that can't even afford, because dental treatment is very, very expensive now. Yeah. And it's getting more expensive. But he, in a sense, will put in position. We have things that we can do to help. Yeah. And I'm sure, someone can also shed some light on that, because I feel like a lot of people neglect their oral cavity just because they don't have the funds to do so. Yeah.
Have you noticed that when you guys are willing to work with patients, that has been a great way to get referrals?
Yeah. Absolutely.
The way you treat people and work with them.
I think that's probably our number one reason why patients come back to us. It's because of how we treat them, how our mannerisms are, how they feel, because nobody likes to go to a dentist office. Just to be honest.
Of course.
Even just a normal doctor.
Yeah.
A dentist,
I don't even think, as a dentist, I don't like going to the dentist.
Exactly. And I work there. So, I know how that goes. But if you can make them feel like, they're just part of your family, or like, if an elderly lady comes in and, she has like something wrong with her dentures or something, I would treat her just like I would my own grandma.
Yeah.
So they're very receptive in that. And that's why our patients come back to us, not just because of the price or anything, but because of our hospitality.
So with you and Dr. IQ, you guys have a great relationship there, but it also sounds like that you guys have a relationship that's grounded in like mutual respect and communication. Right. Would you say that that's something that's really important when it comes to like a dentist who's a practice owner and someone who's they're working with their team? Wouldn't you say that that's something that's super important?
Absolutely, yeah. You have to be transparent. You have to be upfront because you're gonna have mess ups and slips here and there, which is part of normal.
And sometimes the doctor is the one that messes up.
Of course, and it could be me.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that not just because we're friends, but we work towards that common goal.
Yeah.
We want the practice to succeed.
The mutual respect.
Yeah, we want patients to be happy and to be content with their treatment. So it's just a blessing in a way that I'm able to help him. He helps me, and then we work towards that common goal.
I love that. And on that, I think we're gonna stop right there because you just dropped the mic right there. But guys, Osmaan here is just a great resource here. I will get his contact information. We're not gonna just put his cell phone out there for everyone to bother and whatnot.
No,
but he's as you can see, he's a wealth of information. Whatever questions you guys have, I'll make sure you connect. But Osmaan, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing that because a lot of times we have other dentists on there, and it's good to have someone who manages the practice, who deals with the business, because again. We have so many office managers in here that need to hear that, and some practice owners need to hear that as well. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.